Welcome to Unapologetic Atheism. Here, we reject the idea that religion deserves reverence simply because it's old, powerful, or popular. We believe religions are untrue and promote an inherently harmful denial of reality. Our mission is simple: to end religion's dominance over our lives and to end it now. Not someday, not when it's convenient, not when everyone feels ready, now. This is the anti-altar call, an opportunity to undedicate your life to Christ, reclaim your autonomy, and join a community of secular humanists committed to uplifting marginalized voices, defending science, and fighting for the genuine liberation of human beings everywhere. I'm Dr. J. Bundy, aka Pocket Locker 86, an evolutionary biologist, biological anthropologist, and educator currently teaching anthropology and sociology at the collegiate level. I'm a former Christian youth minister and program director from a family of 5 generations of ministers. A church drummer and audio engineer turned scientist, organizer, political strategist, and unapologetic truth teller. It used to be my job to preach the gospel to kids. Now it's my mission to share the good news that the irrational gods we were taught to fear and obey do not exist. If you're here to think freely, live boldly, and build a better world rooted in reality instead of mythology, welcome. This is Unapologetic Atheism. Let's lock in.
Ready for takeoff?
Whoa. Working hard on my stump, what's the problem? I ain't had shit to show, being modest. Now it's grams of the wax for my conscience. Brown James in LA, you're on college. I've been jumping on them planes like a hobby. Still moving with the pack like my partners. Put the John on them jets cause we wildin'. But the bowl is a party on the island, moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and Flocka. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't even for the pain when my pots flip. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof with my first whip. Split the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen the change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs on the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve him at the minute just to front, nigga. Goddamn. Had to grow up quick, I made my own rules. Had my first child, got it jumping with music. Can't really hang with nobody who losing. I thought by now that you would go and get it, but I could hardly see niggas this distant. Know you get cropped if you not in the picture. And I made that zag and went got a bag. Shots to the Henny and OG prescriptions, put rebel shit on the map. Took a leap from where I started at. Started ballin' now, Chris Paul and Cats. Got them steady calling for the mold, but I'm on a roll, gotta call him back. And that's all fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely, either in an overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas should now be clear. All electronic devices should now be turned off and stowed, as they may interfere with the aircraft's navigational and communication systems. Once airborne, we'll let you know when you may use approved electronic devices, but note that some items may not be used at any time during the flight. You'll find a list of approved devices in the in-flight information.
Floor in the high rent district, here he goes, crossing himself. Oh! He's done.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Pocket Locker Podcast. Nah, man, we got some shit we got to get into. I don't have insomnia right now. I'll actually being in bed right now sounds like a motherfucking great idea. Nah, I just finished work for the night, actually. Had a lot of reading to do. Yeah, Yeah, y'all. We gonna get into. We just got a lot of shit to get into. It's just some shit that's just been on my mind, and yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not struggling to sleep, but good to see Equus and PC, of course. Damn, y'all, a lot of craziness going on in the world. All right, look, we're gonna try to keep it a little old school though. We got a little tune. We got to get right. We got to get into the mode. So we pulled up a little music. Probably about to get the stream demonetized, but y'all know how it is. It always. Damn, that bass drum sounds fucking huge. Sounds like a goddamn cannon. I just noticed that. It's so deep. Need a little pick-me-up, Equus. Need one of them Red Bull and vodkas. What's your go-to when you know you want to do some fucked up shit? Like for me, that whole energy drink and liquor thing, that's dangerous. But when I know I'm probably about to start some shit, it's the tequila. I normally drink whiskey. That's just when I'm chilling by myself. But if it's time to get ratchet, I'm going for some dark tequila. And motherfuckers need to be on high alert. Nah, I feel you on that. We try and go up right now. We try and take off. There you go, PC. It's usually the reason we having this motherfucking problem in the first place.
Okay, I like it.
All right. Thank you, fellas. Let's go ahead and get to work. All right, so we're gonna give Kyle a little shout out. Shout out to Kyle. She made a little short on her channel. Y'all should subscribe to Kyle. I'll put a link in the description. Yeah, here we go.
Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a singing protest. Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a singing protest at... Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a singing protest.
This is how I be feeling when I hear these motherfuckers. I be like, please tell me.
Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th,
You
there
did
is
not
a
just
singing
say
protest.
what I think you just said.
Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a singing protest. Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a singing protest. Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a...
All right. Y'all go show Kyle some love. Oh yeah, I wanted to share all this. All right, before we jump back into it, y'all need to see this shit. This is called How Flowers Be Doing People with Allergies.
Yeah, man. So like I was saying, bro, like she ain't rocking with me no more because I got all the bees on me or whatever, bro.
Hey, bro, it hurt to be a player, cuz.
You know, it's the name of the game, Can't hate the play, gotta hate the game, but we back outside, It's springtime, summertime, back out here.
Gotta stay pollinated, nigga.
You got to,
Nigga. I'm just enjoying the sun, y'all. As you should, King.
That
As
too,
you
bro.
should,
That too, that
As you
too.
should, bro.
Hold on. Nah, ain't no way.
Ain't no fucking way.
Ain't no way.
I don't even know why you did that, nigga. I don't even know why you did that.
He think it's sweet. He think it's sweet. I think because the season's still changing, he think it's sweet.
Go ahead and get that flow nades ready, fuck, nigga. Go in the house, nigga. Get in the house, nigga. It's not sweet. He think it's sweet. He think it's sweet.
Once the sun come out, they always
They always do this. They always do this.
Take your ass to CVS, get a Zyrtec, before we about to do something to you.
I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work.
You want a problem? Try walk to that car. Try to walk to that car, you want an issue. Trying to tell you, boy, you didn't take that Flonase, you didn't take the Zyrtec, and you damn sure didn't take the Claritin. Fuck, nigga.
Smiling out. So, the sun is out, my seasonal depression is gone. No, nigga.
No, nigga, you will get really depressed.
Get his head.
Better get your ass whipped by some flowers.
People's elbow. People's elbow.
People's elbow.
That's it right there. Told you, boy.
Hey, this bitch ass down. He thought it was sweet out here.
Told you it wasn't sweet.
We back outside.
It was never sweet.
We back outside.
It was never sweet. You thought because the sun was back out, and because the snow was gone and the trees was coming back to life, you could step out. And nah, it was never that, nigga. It was never that, nigga. Get your ass back in the house.
Allergy season about to be historic.
Historic, nigga. The daisies are out.
I was doing push-ups for 6 months.
Man, the sunflowers out, the daisies out, the tulips.
Why these men are the most...
Okay. I don't know what this... Y'all know autoplay be fucking it up because it be just playing whatever's next on the playlist. All right, y'all. Here's the video that came from, and then we're gonna show you how this just leads you down a rabbit hole. This is why I'm telling you, like the liberal mentality, y'all. We just welcome to fucking class, y'all. Look, let's just get to work.
Hey, so tomorrow, March 8th, there is a singing protest at the ICE facility in Portland. And I had suggested, like, hey, maybe we want to go down there and participate in that protest, not only to be in solidarity with the immigrants who are there, with the interfaith community that's hosting that protest, but also maybe to bring our knitting or our various crafts and sing and knit and protest in solidarity.
Literally the singing and the knitting, y'all. Just roll a fucking tape.
With Knitting Cult Lady, who is having a knit-in DC.
Right, so now Knitting Cult Lady is this other, and Knitting Cult Lady, like these women, listen. These women are sharp. They're very good when it comes to the political commentary and their breakdown of the social dynamics of the moment and things that are going on. I'm not here to undermine their credibility, okay? But we got to talk about this shit, right? Like this is not it. This is not it. This is not what we need right now. We live in very serious times, and you have to understand that power has never been threatened by singing and knitting. You literally sound like this is finna turn into a musical. My oppression is not a fucking opportunity for your goddamn expression. This is we.
Bro. I just wanted to let folks know I was planning on going to that, but I have been ill over the last week and I am on some whopper meds that are going to make it not possible for me to be able to go to that protest tomorrow. I'm considering doing a knitting live stream at home, and maybe people can bring their craft events and we can chat, and then I can make a donation to a local charity. I was thinking maybe PIRC, the Portland Immigrant Refugee Coalition. So I'd love to know what you think about that. What do you think I should do, since I'm going to be stuck at home and unable to get to that protest tomorrow, which is a real shame. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I like Knitting Cult Lady too. She's fantastic, especially the way she goddamn talks about cults. But listen, y'all, it's really not it. Like you have to understand how profoundly unserious you seem when you think that power is threatened by singing and knitting. And it's a problem because it captures your energy and your emotion and your hope. And it doesn't require you to sit down and sit with the reality of the moment and what's going on, and to retool yourself and to realize that you have been indoctrinated and conditioned into a system to make sure that the things you have been taught to do in defiance are actually things that reinforce the status quo. And they alienate you from the marginalized people you claim to be motivated by and finally listening to, because we look at you like you're definitely not serious. And it also renders you totally ineffective in the face of what you're actually claiming to resist, and an ineffective recruiter to the right side of history, because the other side also does not take you seriously. Remember, when shit gets out of control for them, they storm the fucking Capitol. We're ready to hang the motherfucking vice president. Like when they feel betrayed, when they're mad, oh, it's time to wreck motherfucking shop. So when you're like, ICE is fucking taking our rights and murdering people, somebody call the goddamn choir director. Like, that's not the move.
Finally, y'all, this is the video that you've been waiting for. Much requested: pajama pants resistance. What the heck is it? How do we do it? Let's go. I'm so excited to break
we
this
out
down.
here on
This
that late
might
night
end up being
shit.
a couple of
It's been a
different
minute.
videos. We'll see. I got a lot of material. I got a lot of notes. So a few weeks ago, I put out a poll on YouTube, and I was like, okay. What kind of content would be most helpful for you all? Because I want to just I hate covering breaking
And listen,
news.
I agree with y'all. Like, I love Knitting Cult Lady. I listen to her shit all the time, and I think it's fantastically informative and educational. It's just that, 5,000 people getting together, to knit in solidarity just doesn't do it for me, because it's not actually disruptive. That's the thing. Even when I compare these type of things to like the sit-ins of the civil rights movement. Like one of the things that's critically different for me is like that was part of a much more organized, disruptive effort, and it was physically disruptive, right? It was people putting their bodies on the line. Yes, through something simple like, yo, we're just gonna go at the lunch counter and just sit here. But by doing that in spaces where their exclusion was socially and legally reinforced, it disrupted the social order. It made the business had to do something. Other people had to do something. The cops had to do something, right? And people put themselves at risk and made it impossible for things to be business as usual. So yes, there's a lot of things that feel like peaceful protest and all of that type of stuff, but there's a time when peaceful protest is resistance and a time where peaceful protest is not really doing much resisting. And to me, if you're doing the most, I guess you could do some real resisting and also find time for knit-ins, but I think you'd find if you were really tooling yourself and preparing for real resistance, you'd have a hard time finding the time.
I really, really hate it. I understand that talking about Donald Trump having dementia or like, doing something really cringe and embarrassing, I understand that gets clicks, right? That's what helps pay my mortgage. But I really enjoy doing content. Well, one around permaculture and gardening, which is why I'm doing a Thursday live segment every week, a permaculture AMA. But also anything that's like skills-based that helps people become better equipped and better inspired and wanting to take action, feeling empowered, right? I want people to be educated, imbued with skills, and then feel like, okay, I've got the power, I've got the ability now, I can step out and I can be part of this movement. That's the kind of content.
See, when you're blocking the entrance, though, the thing is, it's the blocking the entrance that's the disruption, not the singing. Like, I mean, so then I'm like, oh, cool. I mean, if you're gonna do the disruptive stuff, then go do the disruptive stuff. And if you want to throw some joy up in there, if y'all want to do the disruption with some joy and some panache, that's fine. But keep in mind that the thing then you need to be focusing on is that we're disrupting and we're blocking, right? Because that's a totally different conversation, right? There's a difference between going to war and understanding we're singing songs because we're about to put ourselves in the ultimate risk and go into battle and we're trying to maintain high spirits, right? Versus believing the act of singing, at, the foot soldiers of the army on the other side is itself an act of battle. Like it's like, actually, yeah, they're the foot soldiers just following orders and they're about to come through here and just wipe out our entire village. And, y'all are providing a soundtrack and that's something. It's something. But yeah, their generals don't give a fuck. So neither do I.
Really enjoy making, but it doesn't get very many clicks, y'all. It doesn't get the kind of views that make this platform sustainable. So if I can post a video, about like, again, I only talk about things I think are important, but some things I enjoy covering far less than others, right? So
and here's the thing too, like I want to say something about that. Like, here's the thing too, like some of that stuff, like the thing that bothers me is that I guess I feel whatever marginal thing it brings, it feels like it's not worth the counter display of the lack of seriousness, the lack of weight. Like when I think about it from a critical perspective, there's so much going on that I hate. It's hard to celebrate whatever little aspect there might be that I like. Again, I'm all about people who are doing real resistance, finding joy and solidarity, and that's literally the lesson of the struggle of history. That's literally what resistance means. It's like to understand that it's always been this way. You've always had to fight, and you've always had to build community and love and family in the middle of that fight. So that's all good. But the problem becomes when the people who have the privilege and the social and political and economic capital to actually be meaningfully disruptive to the system substitute their responsibility to finally take risk. Like that's part of the lesson that you're supposed to be learning when you say this is what Black people and, queer people and Native people and, immigrants and all these people have been telling us. They've been telling us and telling us, and we're finally hearing you. It's like, no, you're not hearing us. You keep not hearing the part where it cost us our lives. You keep not hearing the part where we had to fight, we had to die, we had to bleed, we had to sacrifice our rights. You seem to miss the part where we're perpetually at risk even right now. You seem not to be thoroughly appreciating the part that people like me are literally putting our careers at risk for sharing our thoughts unfiltered with people like you. You see what I'm saying? And that's literally for me just an everyday reality. Like I gotta try to like maintain a life by myself with literally zero support system. And just to try to like make people a little bit less ignorant, keep it real with motherfuckers on the internet, even though that puts me at grave institutional risk to not be able to provide for myself. But the reality of the fucking situation in which we find ourselves doesn't offer me much of an alternative. But that's just like a minor little in the moment impromptu reflection on the lived reality of one actually incredibly privileged member of marginalized groups. Right? So the way that y'all are like, I'm finally listening, and then I'm also carving out a space for me to like, not do much of the risk part, but and I do want people to start where they're at and do something or whatever, but you have to remember that behavior has consequences, right? So there's a real risk of doing something and expending a lot of limited resources in that something, and then it turning out that something actually wasn't as helpful as you thought it was. So we have to be able to be critical about what people do. We can't just say, oh, I'm glad you're doing something, and well, if this something makes you feel good, then follow your heart, sister. Because again, part of it for me is that like that's about control. That's about privileged people who are very uncomfortable, who quite frankly, when things start affecting them, all of a sudden act like the world should stop. And then there's this thing that y'all do where it's like you need to reassert some sort of feeling of control of the situation. And so that's why you then want to do stuff. And we all know your moves. We've had to survive you. We've had to watch how you operate. So we know how you operate. The way you operate is something finally affects you, you panic. You can't live with the discomfort of shit actually going down. So then you're like, I have to do something. There has to be something we can do. We have to be able to fix this. There has to be a solution. And it's like, who are you to demand that now that you finally realize shit really fucking sucks and it fucks people all the way up, that like all of a sudden there has to be a fucking magic solution and everybody should jump into action and we can all just put our heads together and solve this real quick. It's like you're missing the lesson here. the lesson here is this is how shit is. And there's no fucking solution. And part of you waking up to your privileges, you realizing like there's nothing about inhabiting this planet that entitles you to fucking solutions to goddamn global structural problems overnight. When the very system that has privileged people like you is the reason we find ourselves in this fucked up situation to begin with. So part of what you have to realize is the system was designed to make sure people like you don't know how to fucking change things in the way they need to be changed in moments like this. So you have to be so fucking for real. It's 2026 and we're on the brink of World War III, if not already in it. And if you're gonna finally listen to fucking marginalized people, you need to finally fucking listen, which means you don't get to determine what the fucking solutions are. You need re-education, you need deconstruction, you need to learn. Like, think about it this way. I'm gonna give y'all like a few analogies. Let's say I get recruited into the fucking military and they just decide, fuck it. Like, we're so desperate, forget our vision requirements, forget our mental health requirements. We're just going to let crazy ass blind Jay be a fighter pilot. And I decide, fuck it, pretend I don't hate America. And I'm just like, I'm willing to die for my country now. And I'm going to be a fucking goddamn American hero, right? And I sign up for the motherfucking Navy or whatever the fuck. They're still gonna have to teach me how to fly a fucking plane. You see what I'm saying? and what the appropriate geography of the goddamn Middle East is for me to figure out how to fucking execute my goddamn missions and shit. You see what I'm saying? And probably some new linguistic skills for me to be able to operate on the ground in this region. You understand what I'm saying to you? My awakening to a cause and the energizing of the moment and my newfound passion and even willingness to sacrifice and give my life and service to a cause does not mean that I don't need to go through a fucking period of extensive education and retooling so that I can actually effectively do what the fuck I'm trying to do. So your insistence that not just something, you be able to do something right now, and there has to be a fucking solution right now. It doesn't just assume that the problem is your previous unwillingness to do anything. It totally misses the point that you don't maybe have the actual tools you need right now. And so you doing whatever the busybody shit you're doing is really just a distraction and a waste of time compared to you like sitting with the reality of this moment, recognizing the gravity of it. Like, that's the first part. Just fucking stop for a goddamn minute. And then realize the shit is really fucking serious right now. And so stop with the busybody bullshit and get busy figuring out what really needs to happen in moments like this. And then from there, you need to keep going back to these marginalized groups you so claim to finally be listening to and asking them, is this what the fuck y'all need right now? Because when 5,000 of y'all get together and start singing and knitting, and most of us are not there, and we're like, who gives a fuck? It's like you're still missing the fucking point. All right, so let's keep going because we got some other shit to get
Talking
into.
about MAGA Christians thinking that the rapture is going to happen and that video will get 200,000 views, but I do a video and like, okay,
Just wait till y'all
here's
see
a
where
really
this is
important
going.
nonviolent resistance skill or element of philosophy. And I know that that's really valuable content, but it'll get 3,500 views, right? I got to strike a balance. But right now, as I'm filming this, it's late night on March 16th. You won't be watching this for several days. I've been spending the last couple of weeks filming ahead for this vacation that I'm going on. It's my 25th wedding anniversary, celebrating my 47th birthday as well. Doing a little road trip. Never taken a vacation with my husband before. We're doing it now. So I've been pre-filming all of these videos, and I've really tried to lean into skills-based content. Informative, like nonviolent resistance history, also philosophy, also educational, skills-based content. And when I put out this poll that was like, what kind of skills-based content would you all like to see? What would be helpful for all of y'all? What would be meaningful and educational for you? The number one response was pajama pants resistance. People were really, they liked that idea. And so since
right, so and this is how the fart sniffing begins, right? Because you have an audience, and then your audience is similarly minded and really celebrating you for informing them and, you know, becoming the central influence in their thinking or whatever, right? So then you have like a lot of like very intense social feedback, like reinforcing this. And this is like, this becomes the trap. And this is why like liberal thinking is so freaking dangerous. It's precisely because it's so well constructed to appeal to such a broad base of people who can effectively occupy space where their numerical dominance, because of the broad appeal of these softening messages, it's just so easy to slip into, reinforcing their comfort and complicity. Like don't worry, like anyway, let's just keep going because we got a lot to
I'm sitting here filming this series of videos and have been for the last few weeks that I'm going to be publishing while I'm gone.
I want y'all to hear her talk about this.
It seems like the perfect time to start leaning into pajama pants resistance and helping explain what it is and
this is what I mean. Like, are y'all hearing this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're think about this. Think about being Trump and all these fucking billionaire robber baron fucking assholes, and then, you know, you've got your people, you know, keep an eye on what's allegedly supposed to be the resistance, and allegedly Americans are super pissed off, and, you know, the Republican Party super worried about the left, and people, you know, betraying the war, and they're pissed about ICE and all this other bullshit. And then you're like, okay, well, show me what the fucking influencers on the left are saying. Well, here's Park Rose Permaculture talking about pajama pants resistance. Oh, is that what the fuck? Oh, is that? Nigga, I'm sitting here with my fucking billionaire friends, just ever so gently glancing over so lovingly and engagingly at this big ass red button to drop nukes on the Middle East, sitting here on the middle of my desk. And these motherfuckers are talking about pajama pants resistance. Right, like this is just like the plot out of like the worst fucking Bond villain cartoonish fucking movie.
What are the different ways that you can engage in pajama pants resistance? Oh my gosh, I still haven't even gotten to the list of activities you can engage in, and I'm 3 minutes in. I have 3 pages of notes, y'all, so this may be a 3-part video series. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be at least 2 parts. So what is pajama pants resistance, first of all? I did roller derby for many years, and a key part of any roller derby league functioning, they are nonprofit athletic leagues, is volunteer labor. Volunteerism is what keeps nonprofit
volunteer
groups
labor.
going, especially amateur sports leagues. And so there's all kinds of ways you could volunteer. As an official, I was a volunteer. Every hour I spent being a referee or an NSO, that's a non-skating official, those were volunteer hours. I was helping facilitate derby for the skaters. I also was like the homework mom for the like junior derby, right? I would help administer rules tests and grade them, volunteering. But there were all of these volunteer gigs that you could do that were called no pants gigs, no pants volunteering. Things the league really needed done, but you could do them from the comfort of your own home with no pants on, where nobody could see you. Can you help put together the program for the upcoming tournament? Can you call people, call vendors, call businesses and ask them to donate to our raffle baskets? Do you have good bookkeeping skills? Would you like to volunteer as a treasurer for one of the teams? Would you like to help set the cleaning and maintenance schedule for the league? Maybe you aren't somebody who could come and help clean the hangar, but you could help organize the schedule and figure out what teams are doing what cleaning on what days. Loads and loads of things that you can do from the comfort of your own home with no pants on. I thought, well, this is something that really would apply to resistance work as well. But I didn't like the idea of no pants resistance. I thought people might find that a little bit weird. So, well, what can we call it? Pajama pants resistance. That seems pretty good. So that's it. That's the whole premise. Pajama pants resistance are meaningful, helpful contributions that you can make to the pro-democracy resistance movement from the comfort of your home in your pajamas. Let's just overlook the fact that I film my content from my bedroom.
Yeah. So this is, I'm gonna let her keep going, but this is where it's just, I want y'all to hear this. It's weird. It's just like we're in this weird fucking moment where, and again, like part of the problem for me is, again, it's the way it captures the energy. Do I really have a problem with the behavior itself? No. But I have a problem with the framing in the moment and not understanding the seriousness of the moment, because the reality is this is shit you're supposed to already be doing. And this is shit that, you're supposed to see as like a baseline. If these are the things you're thinking about engaging in, then like fine, but that's kind of like background activity. It's more like support. It's more like supportive things you should have already been doing in your community given your position of relative privilege. But since you haven't been and you're, new on the scene with the gangster lean, it's like you're kind of flexing your resistance muscles, but all the rest of us sees like you just finally showed up and now want to be celebrated for finally showing up, when like we've been here the whole time. And actually resistance means like the fucked upness that we've been dealing with the entire time, that you still refuse to actually deal with any of the fucked upness, actually just got a whole hell of a lot worse for us. We are now exposed to more risk and more fucked upness, and then we have more exposure because of the fucking shit we have to deal with. Then we still have to keep showing up to do more fucking shit, and you just showed up and you still won't do with no real shit, put yourself in any real risk, but now you want the rest of us to stop what the fuck we're doing to throw you a motherfucking parade. And it's giving booster club. Right? Like, yes, we appreciate the booster club. Like, we have these nice new jerseys, these cool warm-ups, and like last year we were playing on that fucked up ass old hoop. You know what I'm saying? And now we have this new shiny rim and nice bleachers. So yes, we appreciate the booster club, but you're the goddamn booster club sitting in the goddamn stands. And again, it gives away your motherfucking privilege, because while we have to literally put our goddamn bodies on the line to actually bring home this goddamn city fucking championship, you're sitting in the goddamn stands waving your goddamn pom-poms, but now you want to be all up in the picture with the motherfucking trophy. Did that sound very High School Musical to you? Good, because it is. But this is about to be the real World War III, like the real one. It's not time for these fucking games.
Because I don't have any other space to work, and I'm usually in my pajamas. I come home from whatever I'm doing, and before I start filming, I'm like, I gotta put on elastic pants. I gotta have my flannel jammies on so I can sit and film. Anyway, okay, pajama pants resistance. Loads and loads of ways that you can contribute, even if you can't go to a protest, even if you're not somebody who's willing to have your body brutalized by ICE, even if you're not willing to get arrested, even if you can't go to in-person meetings. Maybe you have childcare obligations. Maybe you have disability.
Sorry, what about the camera lens, Kyle?
Maybe your work schedule's just really hectic.
Let me go clean it real quick.
How can I contribute, even if I can't get to these public events? I'm here to hook you
cameras.
up. So here we go. Let's just start listing some of the things that you can do to meaningfully contribute from the comfort of your home in your jammies. Guys, the first one's really easy, and I know it's
like you see, we're already done. What you can do from the comfort of your home in your jammies. Oh my goodness, optics, exactly, Kyle. For facts. No, I started to pick up what you're laying down. I'm just a little slow. Thanks for bearing with me.
Something people don't like to talk about, and they don't think of it as like a sexy part of resistance, but donating, giving your money. You can't be on the front lines protesting? Cool, donate to the National Lawyers Guild so that other people, when they get arrested, standing up for democracy, can have access to an attorney. You can't get out and protest at ICE? Can you donate to the street medics? Can you buy them supplies for their med kits? You can order that all online and have it delivered to them. Financial support is a key element of resistance. We have to fund the resistance. I know it's not sexy. I know people think that it's kind of crude to talk about money, which is why I talk frankly about money all the time. I would like to destigmatize conversations around money. People on the front lines have real needs, and if you are contributing financially, if you're in a position where you're like a retiree who's quite well off, if you have a vocation that requires you work long hours but you make a good paycheck,
if you've got a posh home and a diner,
maybe your role in the resistance is to be somebody's sugar mama, and that's okay. That's a lot of my role in the resistance, right? Okay, I could make a video and donate the revenue from that, and that would be more meaningful than me going to this meeting. I do.
And it's cool. It's cool. Listen. Yes, the movement needs sugar mamas. It does. The movement needs sugar mamas. But ask yourself, what does it mean for you as a citizen in a moment like this for the people who the supposed side of the resistance in this moment is turning to, thinks the thought leaders are the sugar mamas, right? When you mistake the sugar mamas for the motherfucking generals, that's the problem.
Those calculations all the time. Again, it doesn't feel as sexy to be like, I'll just Venmo you $100 or whatever. It doesn't feel.
And y'all thought I was bullshitting when I put retail therapy on the motherfucking thumbnail. Y'all know my thumbnails. See the thumbnail game. They say, Jay, you got to hit them with something on the thumbnail that's gonna grab their attention. And so then I'll be putting some shit out there on the thumbnail, and then they be, Jay, are you clickbaiting us? Yeah, are you clickbaiting us? I don't do clickbait, motherfucker. I put some shit out on the thumbnail because I'm gonna fucking back that shit up. And when I say, don't worry, you can just retail therapy the resistance, y'all thought I was bullshit. Y'all thought I was playing. She basically just told you, look, don't worry about it. Just find your favorite influencer that's actually out there in the streets, hit up their Amazon wish list, okay? And be like, don't you forget who bought them motherfucking bandages.
Is sexy, but that's really, really necessary. You are contributing. Your work in that way is necessary. Even if it's usually anonymous, even if you're never on the front lines, you are needed in that way. Okay, if you can't contribute financially, if you just have limited means, what can you do from the comfort of your home? You can organize supply drives. You can organize other kind of donation-based events. How can you, from the comfort of your home, email and invite people to a donation drive where they can bring water, first aid supplies, snacks, goggles, umbrellas, tarps, gas mask filters, stop the bleed kits. Like, what is it that people need? And can you, from the comfort of your home, help organize that? Can you help create the social media posts asking people to donate either goods or funds? Can you put together the messaging? Can you reach out to people? Can you email people? If y'all are feeding immigrants in your community and you're not somebody who can actually do the food delivery, can you schedule the drop off and pickup? Can you schedule the shopping trips? Can you help fundraise for people to donate so that you can have other folks in your group go buy the groceries and deliver them to immigrant families? Can you be the fundraiser? Can you be the one calling businesses and saying, would you be interested in donating to our raffle or our silent auction? Can you be sending out the emails to folks in your group, to alumni organizations, to businesses in your community and say, like, here's this really good and worthy cause. Would you be willing to donate it?
Now, what's so interesting is like this is actually good too, right? Again, like most of this stuff, that's what makes, you know, everything that we have to talk about has to have a nuance. Like something is not an attractive message if it's just sitting on some crazy shit. There's always a bit of truth in everything. So yes, of course, these are contributions. Yes, of course, these are things that help. But again, they're really the type of things we should always be doing. And so since that's the case, you should recognize that really they just make up for deficit effort. They're things we should have always been doing all along that we now have an extreme deficit because we weren't doing. Particularly you weren't doing. And I don't mean that to like make people feel bad personally. I mean that structurally, like when most of the privileged people who have the resources, have the time, have the privilege, have the autonomy, are not showing up for marginalized people in their communities who by definition don't have those things. When shit hits the fan, we're starting from an extreme deficit. And so now it's great that you're doing the things you should have been doing all along. We should not mistake that for being enough for what the moment right now requires, right? So sorry, there was like noise distracting me. But yeah, like that's a big part of the issue for me. Hang on a second.
Then take in and organize and distribute those donations. Again, I know thinking about the fundraising aspect or the financial contribution aspect is not always.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. And then you have to remember, again, the reflection of privilege, right? And that's what gives the booster club energy feel. Because notice how for people who can't afford to sponsor the resistance, they then have to sacrifice. It requires them to do the organizing work, them to do the traveling, them to do the labor, them to do all these other things you just mentioned. So that shows you that that's the real work in a way, or at least that's where the real work begins. But again, for the privileged, they can essentially just purchase their way out of that, which is, you know, again, part of the structural critique of how we ended up here.
The most glamorous part, but that's such a necessary part. Are you good at grant writing? Could you try and get some community development grant, or like Indivisible has grants? All kinds of 501c4s offer grants that would be really helpful for your group. Are you the person to fill out the applications? Okay, come back for part 2. I might have 3 parts.
Kyle, I agree about the getting together. You know, I was talking about that a lot, especially after I went to Kentucky, because that was my first time to get together with people. You know, I think most of us know it's important, and I think that, you know, ironically, that's part of the issue with this whole conference scene that has emerged from this community, is that it's a community where people are hungry for real community, IRL community, but that desire does not necessarily mean that the skills and the organizational structures are in place to facilitate that. And then even on a more personal or like you know, let's just do it as a group type of thing. It's just hard to get it going because it is expensive to travel. That's one of the real consequences of the economic pressures we're all living with, is that it's very hard for people to it's effectively amounts to a vacation in an economic situation where most people can't afford to take a vacation. But yeah, I agree about how critical it is. It's just always been a matter of making it something we can actually pull off.
Hey folks, I'm in London this week doing resistance history work. What else would I be doing? But Saturday I'm going to be leaning into the No Tyrants March here and everything else going on around it, while a lot of you are heading out to No Kings rallies back home. Now, we've talked about it before. We're going to be talking about it again all week long. Protest isn't necessarily resistance. But you can make protest do resistance work that's necessary. And that's why I'm here. But while I'm here, my publisher, whom I love, has an ask from Barnes & Noble to do what every other author with a book coming out right now is doing, letting you know about a 25% pre-order sale through Thursday. Print, ebook, audiobook, another 10% on top of all that if you're a premium member. So consider my obligation to them fulfilled. If you're inclined to buy the book anyway, just pay as little for it as possible. And if you got a great indie near you, Good Neighbor Books, every day is Juneteenth, go there instead. It's not a good book. It's not supposed to be. It's not a happy book. It's not supposed to be. It's not a hopeful book. It's definitely not supposed to be that. That's a whole other kind of book, and there are plenty of those. This ain't one of them. What it is, I think, is a useful book. And I think that especially this week, our cities across the country back home, here in London, what's going on both sides of the Atlantic, we're in a moment that requires serious people who need a place to start. My book might do that for you. It's not an end to anything, but it might be a decent place to start. Because here's what it actually does. It goes through these moments in American history and shows you what resistance actually looked like. What worked, what didn't, why, and how to recognize the moment when protest isn't enough anymore. Because that moment always comes and most people miss it. And it beats you over the head with one thing our history makes completely undeniable. Not one goddamn right in our country was ever given to anyone. None of it was a gift from James Madison. Our democracy, and every right it includes, was fought for, bled for. And here's the really annoying thing, the thing that should make you tired just to hear it. We have to keep fighting for it, over and over. That's not me being a pessimist. That's the record. So you better know why. So maybe finally we can fix things. And my book puts you on the road to that. Now, protests matter, but they don't do resistance work on their own. Not in a broken democracy, maybe in a functioning democracy, but not in a broken democracy. That's where resistance starts. They have to become something more. And the book is the same thing. It's a place to start. So get 25% off if you want to do that. That's all I got.
All right, so I wanted y'all to hear that, and I am, you guys know I'm big on this guy. I'm so excited about his book. I actually purchased it. It doesn't even come out for a few months, but I'm like, I don't care. I need to know that I own it already so I can read it the day it comes out. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna try to find a way to teach it somehow. Listen, what he's talking about is so critical. Like, our rights have never been given to us. They've never been a gift. They've never been granted. They'd had to be fought for and bled for and died for. And so again, starting from that perspective of there are things we needed to do to always be moving in solidarity that we have not been doing. It's not that I want to say, don't donate to people who are doing resistance, don't work, don't, volunteer to do organizational efforts. That's not the message at all. But the message is, don't mistake that for the actual structural disruption that is necessary. And why it may be necessary for you to recruit yourself into the disruption. And I'm going to try to articulate that a little bit. Part of what happens in resistance is people only want to sacrifice in terms of a social order that suits them. So when you come to me and you say shit's out of hand, things are getting out of control, we need to do something, we need to resist, I'm gonna go, cool. Well, what are we resisting? Well, ICE is out of control, the government's killing people, there's, war in the Middle East, and the billionaires are taking over, and the government's corrupt, and the economy's fucked, and okay. Now for us, we're like, you just described every day ever. Why are you freaking out about it now? Oh, you're freaking out about it now because it's finally happening to people like you. Why didn't you just say that from the beginning? I was I was kind of tripping. I was wondering what the fucking big deal was. But now that you said it's finally happening, I see. Well, what do you think we need to do? Well, I think we need to fucking change things. We gotta resist. We gotta fight. We gotta protest. We gotta do all the things. Oh, okay. Well, how do you suggest we do that? Well, you go out there and you fight them, and I'll be here on the sidelines cheering you on, and don't worry, I'll sponsor your supplies. Oh, so I sacrifice my time and I put myself at risk and I do the disruption and I put myself out there on the line, and you sit back and hang out where it's safe. And what exactly do I get out of that again? Well, look at my position, and I'm privileged, and I can help you, but I can't afford to put myself in a. Oh, okay. See, what you miss in this moment is that for marginalized people, the reason you haven't been able to recruit our efforts the way you want to is because we're resisting the system that privileged you over us to begin with. And so the reason you can't mistake the support work for the resistance work is because part of what we're fighting against is the system that continues to perpetuate itself such that we continue having to sacrifice ourselves for a system that primarily was never intended to benefit us. And the people who are the most privileged, who can actually afford to be the most disruptive with the least amount of risk, who have the full autonomy of the system, largely, maybe not the most privileged people in society, but certainly the most privileged amongst those resisting, continue to refuse to do so. That's going to be a problem because the rest of us are going, I'm not going to sacrifice for your system more than you are. This is your house. This is your show. They built this shit for y'all. They've been fucking us all the way up. We learned how to just keep it pushing. Now they're up at your backyard. You want the whole world to end. But you still want this to go down into a way where you don't have to actually do any of the fighting, the bleeding, or the dying. Cool, I don't want to do any of the fighting, the bleeding, or the dying either. But the difference is this time around, we're firmly going into you first territory. Because this house wasn't built for me to begin with. That's the thing I need people to keep track of. I'm not gonna fight and die to keep your house together. Only for the shit to collapse on me anyway. All right, now, to my surprise, Neil deGrasse Tyson decided he had some shit to say. And the motherfucker had some shit to say. I was like, hang on a second, hold on. He kind of cooking on this. But yeah, this is what I think about. I would call this like the scientific outlook on the moment. And I think it's good to go from what Tad was saying about the seriousness of the moment and what the real work of resistance looks like, and then tie that to this scientific perspective on war. And even though Neil deGrasse Tyson is somebody who typically plays games with the religious proclivities of the common man, he doesn't mince words in this video in a way I really appreciate. So this is our main event of the evening. Let's get to it.
Ever since we've recorded the history of human conduct in what we call civilization and even before, there have been people who didn't get along on a level where it wasn't simply a matter of let's talk over our differences. It's we cannot resolve our differences, so therefore I must kill you. This as a mode of operation within our species, within civilization.
Yeah, in Son of Barca, it isn't. That's this is part of the lesson I've been trying to really get people to think about. Is that's always a very real possibility. Part of a very consequentialist view of nature is there is no undo button in real life, and sometimes the consequences of the way shit's been is solutions may not be available any longer. And if they are, the cost may be more than you're willing to pay or comfortable, certainly. And part of the risk of the liberal mindset in these things is it's so easy to slip back into consumerism. You know, it's the comfort that kills. It's when certain people's comfort is more important than other people's lives. And then when somebody tells you, hey, I've got a way for you to really save their lives, don't worry. It's actually what you're already comfortable doing. You just got to sit back at home and do some shopping. Buy some supplies on Amazon. Make some phone calls. Send some emails. Schedule some meetings. Don't worry. You're doing your part. You're saving the world. I know. The man on the TV is yelling about World War III and bombs and fascism and you know they're claiming the pedophile president is you know here to bring about Armageddon. But don't you worry. Just keep making those phone calls and buying those supplies. This isn't retail therapy. This is resistance. This isn't busying yourself doing a bunch of bullshit in online shopping. This is revolution. That's the danger. It's not that you shouldn't donate and organize and volunteer your time. is that you shouldn't confuse that with resistance in the most serious of times. That can be a lethal mistake.
Itself is disturbing. So let's go way back when it's just fisticuffs. What's the most damage I could do? I can maybe harm one person, possibly kill one person at a time. Now I have a bow and arrow.
There it is.
I'm one person and I can take out 10 people at a time. Notice this ratio is getting steeper and steeper. I now have a gun. Actually, it's a musket gun initially. I could take you out at 50 yards. I don't even know what you look like and I can kill you. Then I have automatic weapons. One person can take out 20 people. You reload, take out another 20. A missile. You fire a missile. I can take out hundreds of people. War continues to, quote, advance. What else can I have? Oh, bombs. Yes. So now one person can kill thousands. Once you have an airplane, you can fly over someone's head. It renders the trench warfare obsolete. Airplanes can go over cities. You drop bombs on people's heads, whether or not they're combatants. So now you just make more and more powerful bombs. Now the bombs are no longer just explosives like with gunpowder or anything. It's nukes, nuclear weapons, a birth at the end of the Second World War. Now, one person flying an airplane can kill tens of thousands, even millions. Tens of thousands initially with the atom bomb. These are the fission bombs that split uranium and plutonium atoms into lighter atoms, releasing energy in the process. Those were the two bombs.
So this is just this hyper escalation that we're stuck in, right? And this is what I've been trying to explain to people, is that we live in biblical times with AI and nukes. Like, we still have these Iron Age mentalities from thousands of years ago. And we consider ourselves to have progressed beyond such barbaric ways of thinking. But in reality, we literally have the same mentality. My mythological being told me to wipe out your people and take your land because you worship the wrong mythological being. But now we have fission, fusion, hydrogen, ultra mega death bombs and drones and artificial intelligence and mass surveillance. It's a deadly fucking cocktail. It's the most, we live in the most serious of times, people.
Over Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The first and only two times nuclear weapons were used in warfare. The bombs over Nagasaki and Hiroshima were like 20 kilotons, something like that. Kilotons, what unit is that? We don't have a way to measure the energy of atomic bombs, so you measured in terms of what the previous explosive powers were. TNT. TNT's dynamite. Discovered by Alfred Nobel, by the way, got rich, put in money to create the Nobel Prize. Kilo is 1,000, we all know. Ton is a ton. 1,000 tons of TNT. Not just one stick of dynamite, thousands of tons. You take that, ignite it in an instant. You incinerate everybody below you. And we have magnified the power of that weapon by 100. We call them hydrogen bombs, just the way the sun makes energy, taking hydrogen atoms, bringing them together to make helium atoms. That also releases energy, way more energy than you'd get by fissioning heavy atoms. No longer is it kilotons, it's megatons. Not just thousands of tons of TNT, millions of tons of TNT. Now, one person who pushes a button or has a rocket to deliver ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. I can sit here in the comfort of my chair, control a missile on my sovereign land. It'll enter suborbital because it leaves our atmosphere. It can't travel that far without resistance through the air. It leaves our atmosphere, goes its distance, comes back out of the sky, hits its target. You can kill 1 million people. Clearly, that's a highly unstable situation. Because now we are beholden to the sanity of anyone who has access to that button. Given the neurodiversity of our species, not
The
everyone
neurodiversity of our species.
has the rational capacity to make a decision that would be in the interest of the world's health, wealth, and security. I'm old enough to remember MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction. It was the realization that if there's a first strike, while the weapons are airborne, spaceborne, while they're leaving the atmosphere, that's enough time for you to launch your weapons. If the country wants to really get at you, they'll attack you and your allies. So now everybody starts launching weapons. If you have total nuclear exchange and you ignite the forests and the vegetation of the world, this converts living plant tissue into carbon soot that goes into the air, blocking sunlight. This was the famous nuclear winter that was described in the early 1980s. Computing power was just becoming good enough to address the question of what happens if you darken the skies all around the world. The temperature of the earth drops. Plants that depend on sunlight die. Animals that depend on plants die. Animals that depend on plants die in sequence. And you have nuclear holocaust, not only affecting earth life, but plant life and other animal life as well. The nuclear winter scenario, it assumed that the weapons would be equally distributed on Earth's surface. That's generally not how this works. If you're launching nukes, you're going to launch it at the missile silos that might have other nukes that haven't launched yet. And you're going to launch it towards cities with multiple nukes coming into the same city. So you won't get the spread that initial calculation had presumed. But what it did do was birth an entire science of long-term climate modeling from assaults on the environment. And out of that, we got to have great confidence that the dinosaurs were taken out by an asteroid the size of Mount Everest that struck the Yucatan Peninsula off of Mexico, cast dust into the air, plunging Earth into darkness, rendering 70% of all species of life on Earth and in the ocean extinct.
Now, what's so interesting to me about this is, like, I for instance, our first movie night of the semester is always Don't Look Up, and man, that's a great movie. You guys haven't seen it on Netflix, but I remember watching it during the sort of shutdowns or lockdowns or whatever. It wasn't really during the lockdowns; it was kind of after that. But when we were still inside because of COVID, and it felt like it was about COVID, but in reality, it's about global warming. Even though in the movie it's about an asteroid. What's so interesting about that is an asteroid certainly could create a mass extinction event, but this nuclear holocaust, man, it literally made me feel like it's so fucked up because of these goddamn cults. It's like, I don't believe in your God, but I do fear the goddamn very real Armageddon your belief can bring us. The very real mass extinction event that can result by our own hand.
The world quickly realized how deadly this is. It's not just a bow and an arrow. It's not just fisticuffs. It is an asymmetry in warfare that had never been seen before. I'm reminded of a quote from Albert Einstein. I don't know how World War III will be fought, but I know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. That's where,
for the students in the back, that just what he's saying is that he was having a hard time, or he was alluding to a hard time anticipating the destructive capabilities that would decide a World War III, but predicting that they'd be so destructive that they'd set civilization back so far that we would lose so much of our cultural evolution, so much of the benefits of the quote-unquote modern civilization, that World War IV would be fought with sticks and stones.
War and the science of war has taken us. Scientists have historically been complicit in the waging of war. Governments, be they warmongering or otherwise, have always reached for the ingenuity and creativity of scientists and engineers of all stripes. You know, where do you get chemical weapons from? You go to the chemist. Bio-warfare, you go to the biologist. The astrophysicist, we don't make bombs, we don't, no.
Hey, Victoria.
But we care about multispectral imaging in dark places. We care about coordinates on Earth and in the heavens. We care about timing. What is a physicist an expert at? It's matter, motion, and energy. And what is a military battle of any kind? It's, I have energy over here, and I want to put it over there. It could be, I have a bullet here sitting in my gun, but I want to put that bullet over there with energy that I give it. I have a bow and arrow. I pull the string, pumping potential energy into the bow. When I let go, the bow springs forward, the arrow goes, sending kinetic energy over here to over there. That is the basis of essentially every military conflict. There is no war that is won without the exploitation of science and technology at its center. A little bit about me and my history. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. All I ever knew was the Vietnam War. I grew up in an era where war is bad. War is bad. How could war ever be good? But meanwhile, I'm still observant, and I look around town, and there's statues to war heroes, military servicemen standing proud. And I said, how is it that I could think war is bad, where apparently at all these other times, not the time coincident with the Vietnam War, but at all these other times, war was commemorated with pride, and dare I say, even celebrated. That's what kind of Memorial Day and Veterans Day is all about. You are celebrating those who fought in wars and commemorating those who died in wars. This is a celebration, a recognition. Whereas in the Vietnam era, there was none of that. So that's where I was forged. My sense of war was forged. But my rational mind was saying, what is the rest of this about? There are occasions where, yeah, war is necessary. A bad actor rises up whose interests do not comport with what we might think of as civilization, the preservation and prolonging of civilization as we have built it and as we have come to embrace it. Easily who comes to mind, of course, is Adolf Hitler. Yes, there are times when you are fighting evil forces, but you have to ask who defines
I was reading that PC.
In starting and making a war, not the right is what matters, but victory. The strongest has the right.
It's hard to argue against the idea that to protect freedom is a good thing, and the fact that freedom isn't always free. It reminds me, I saw a comic long ago where two people are facing each other with a bow and arrow pointed right at each other's necks. And each one says at the same time, the harder I pull, the safer I feel. It's like, really? As a scientist, when we disagree with one another, we might argue our case vociferously. Some people are a little more emotionally invested in their ideas than others, so it can get heated. But at the end of the day, You know what we say to each other? We need more data.
Yep.
When more data come in and then it resolves the conflict, then we agree, go out, have a beer, and then move on to the next frontier question.
But then here's the problem too, is that we don't tell the world that it's time for you to think scientifically. We think scientific thinking is for the realm of scientists. And so then it doesn't translate. And so, one, we produce scientific knowledge and then society just often discards it. I don't like you saying that I evolved and that I wasn't created, so I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear that. I don't like you saying I got to stay home and take the vaccine and wash my hands and we should probably still be wearing masks in 2026. I'll pretend I didn't hear that. And not only can I not make you accept the scientific information, I can't make you accept the scientific way of thinking. So then the part where we say, we'll settle this with theory, evidence, and data gets trumped by, I got more nukes than you've got.
That's the brain wiring of a scientist. It's not the brain wiring of politicians or many other sort of sectors of society where they need to interact with others. I've had some exposure to military operations. Now, I never served in the military, not as a soldier, but I did serve on a board of the Pentagon, the Defense Innovation Board. It was an attempt to alert the military that the strength in armies going forward, the strength of nations going forward, is not measured by how many soldiers are on the ground. It's not even necessarily measured by how many nukes you have in your silos. It could be measured by how clever you are with either computing or calculations or strategies that come from a place that's not just how big is your weapon. We look at the reasons why people have fought wars over the years. A common one is access to limited resources.
Yeah, it's a problem
I want what
too.
you have.
Amateurism.
I need what you have. Oh, you're not.
Social media has exacerbated that problem. The people with the loudest voice and the biggest problems. The biggest problems, but the biggest platforms rarely are the experts with the best information.
I'm not going to share it. You're not going to give it to me. Therefore, I'm going to take it. Well, you can only do that. You can only threaten to do that if you have the resources, the financial resources, the scientific resources, the engineering resources. Other reasons why people fight with limited access to resources, yes. Religion. Again, I come to it as a scientist. If there's a batch of scientists over there who say, E doesn't equal MC squared, E equals MC cubed, are we going to go to war over that? No. I would say, no, let me show you why that is not true. And I would demonstrate it with experiments and examples. That doesn't work as well when you have belief systems. If you come from a belief system, then what you believe doesn't have the evidence that science would normally require to establish what is objectively true. That's why they're called belief systems, because you believe that something is true. Now, you may believe it so strongly that you know it's true, but that's an internal emotion that you carry. Belief systems are such that it may be true for you, but it's not really true for other people unless you convince them of it. And since it's based on belief, rational arguments tend to not work. You need methods of coercion or force, ultimately threat of violence, perhaps even threat of death. And so some of the most violent encounters civilization has ever had with itself is when one warring faction has a belief system that differs from that of their adversary. It's interesting to ask of ourselves in society, is there anything you would die for? You get one chance in life. What I have found is that the less tangible the thing is you're fighting for, the more abstract it is, the less evidence there is in support of it, the more willing people are to die for it.
And like I said, anybody that is willing to die for Jesus is willing to lie for Jesus. Now, if you believe that, like I believe that, then you extend that to a general framework and you realize the things people willing to die for are the things they don't have any evidence for, the things that are bullshit. And when you're living in reality land on reality's terms, there's very little you're willing to die for, because you can either demonstrate the things that you are firmly convinced of, or you're not firmly convinced of them. If I'm firmly convinced of something based on the evidence, I'm not willing to die for it, because I'm literally willing to show you the evidence. You put a gun in my head and say, are you willing to die for evolution to make me accept evolution? I'm going to say no. Like, why would I do that? I have evidence to get you to understand evolution. If you don't want to see the evidence and you're willing to kill me over it, then I just won't show you the evidence. I'm not willing to die over it. Like, there's no need for that. And then if there's something I don't have evidence of, I'm also not willing to die over it, because I don't have any evidence of it. So I already know I don't know. I'm just going to tell you I don't know. Can you imagine being willing to die over something that you were willing to admit you don't know? You can't. Nobody can. So it's like the only class of things that people really, truly are willing to die over is the fucking shit they believe that they can't demonstrate. It's actually a profoundly simple logic. If I can demonstrate it, I don't need to be willing to die for it. If I can't demonstrate it, I don't know it. If I don't know, I'm not willing to die for it, because I'm just willing to admit I don't know. It's actually quite simple.
And so war always seems to be this glorious thing at the beginning. And then the body bags start coming back. And not only military casualties, but civilian casualties, just trying to live their lives, who are now susceptible to decisions made by people in power, who generally are not themselves the same people who go do the fighting. I find that dismaying, just being human.
Hang on.
Fighting by people in power, susceptible to decisions made by people in power, who generally are not themselves the same people who go do the fighting.
Susceptible to decisions made by people in power who are not the ones who go do the fighting. Now think about what it means to try to resist a system that operates like that by recapitulating that with the same victims of the system you're trying to resist. When you come to me and you say, Jay, I finally hear the cries of you and your people. I finally recognize what Black people have been talking about, what Indigenous people have been talking about, what LGBTQ people have been talking about, what POL people have been talking about, what immigrants have been talking about, what women have been talking about. But you don't realize you are in a position of power. And you're now trying to recruit us to assist you because you feel under threat. But you're still not willing to do any of the fighting. And now we're looking at you like, we tired of dying for the system that benefits you. Shit, I could stay home in my underwear and make calls and set up meetings and buy a couple of things on Amazon. I may not be able to buy as much on Amazon as you could buy on Amazon, but I could spot y'all a few bandages. You could get out there in the streets and throw your body into the wheels of injustice this time. And I'll cheer you on. After all, this is your house. You're the one who look. I'm still paying rent, living paycheck to paycheck. Can't afford to miss a day of work. Working 2 jobs. Apparently, y'all are landed and inherited and got your retirement funds. Y'all good to go. So shit, I should be cheering you on while you go take down the man. You got that pay lawyer money. Every time somebody tries to hold you accountable for doing some fucked up shit, you remind us. It's your turn to fight.
I find that dismaying, just being human in civilization as a scientist. But it's real, and it happens, and that's how the world is put together.
And that too. It's dismaying to me as a scientist, but it's real, and that's human, and that's how the world is put together. Notice how there isn't the instinctive, there must be a solution, I must have it, there must be an answer, we have to fix this. Let me tell you what to do. There is I have to sit with this. I have to understand that this is the way the world is. This is the system I inherited. This is who we are. I have to look us in the mirror, in the face, and say, this isn't a bug. This is a feature. And then I have to really sit with, what the fuck do we do about this? I related to, a lot of what I've learned from my friends throughout this whole situation with Nancy being assaulted by SR. You realize the experience of victims is that this shit happens every day. And usually nobody does shit, and people don't believe women, and nothing happens, and nothing's done about it. The legal system doesn't do anything about it. Communities don't do shit about it. Organizations don't do shit about it. And the people who did it get away with it, and they go on and do it to somebody else. And when people tell you this, you want to resist it, but no, there has to be a way. There has to be a solution. You got to believe in justice. You got to believe in the system. And you realize, no, they're trying to put you on. Yeah, okay, yeah. When they fight, they do all those things when they can. But they're trying to put you on to reality and what it's really like to understand the everydayness of it all. So you don't get to do something about it so you can feel better. You don't get to buy something so you can feel like you've fix the fucking structure. You get to go sit with this very profound lesson. This group of people who you'll never understand what it's like to walk a mile in their shoes. But they thought enough of you to put you on game, to help you understand, help you get a clue, to smarten you up to what it's really like out here. So don't disrespect them by pretending this is all just some biggest misunderstanding, and if we all just put our minds to it, we can make this go away tomorrow. No. Understand that you may have known it was fucked up, but they just put you on to a little tiny sliver how fucked up it really is, even though you'll never fully appreciate it. And then you just have to go forward from there. And so in everything I've seen, all the fucked up shit in this community, all the fucked up ways that people keep fucking it up over and over and over again, not believing this person, I no longer have the incredulity. I'm like, this is what they've been trying to tell me. This is what they was talking about. This is what they said was going to happen. And you still got to keep sitting with it and just ride with them and keep going.
With or without the League of Nations, coming out of the First World War, with or without the United Nations, after the Second World War, with charters that are signed, Geneva Conventions. At the end of the day, you can ask the question, can we just all get along? Let me end on a slightly more positive note. All the UFOs people have been seeing in the sky, lights that we can't explain, I'm glad some part of the military budget is going to investigating them. Because people have been seeing them for decades. I've never seen anything that I couldn't identify. I know a lot about weather and climate and sky conditions and planets and moons and what they do and weird things that they do. So I've never seen anything I couldn't explain. So it was all IFOs to me. But maybe some of these UFOs would pose a danger to us. Again, to our health, our wealth, or our security. Maybe. So I'd want the military to check it out. And if it's a threat from space, maybe the greatest task of all would be to protect Earth from aliens. In fact, in the 1980s, President Reagan, addressing the UN, said just that. He said, here we are with all of our differences. He was still in the Cold War, by the way. With all of our differences, imagine how close we would be together if we had to fight a common enemy, such as an invader from space.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound.
If that's what it takes for us to get along, I guess so.
What's interesting to me is evolution already showed us the way, because evolution reminds us that so much of what we're doing is fighting against the motherfuckers who really run this planet, which is the microbes, our parasites, who evolve much faster than we do. So when a new virus really stepped onto the main stage, it shut everything down. And all of a sudden, as poorly as we did it, as unprepared for the moment as we were, we did have to fight a common enemy. And something that goes so unappreciated is for a brief moment in time, while we were far more concerned about ourselves and each other, we stopped going to war. And at the same time, so many natural systems, literally like in our cities, came back to life. Green spaces were revived. The smog over cities cleared. Skies became clearer. The air became cleaner. there was peace throughout most of the planet. And like the planet itself took a sigh of relief and a breath of fresh air. And as soon as we was back outside, we was right back to bombing each other. Lesson not learned.
But I still believe, I believe in the power of conversation and the power of coexistence, because that's what makes a beautiful world. That we can all be different, but yet all be together with common causes, common goals that are sensible, rational, sane, and will feed the future of our health, our wealth, and our security. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep looking up.
All right, y'all. Look, it's been fun. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Damn, this shit tonight gave me a lot to think about. Y'all see, I had a lot on my mind, but yeah, like I said, we live in the most serious of times. So, you know, I think we're doing what we can. We're trying to figure out how to have solidarity, how to resist. We got to be a little critical of each other, but we're working to cultivate a higher order solidarity. We're working to say the ideas that have helped us cultivate certain group cohesions within our groups. We now have to cultivate a higher cooperation between our groups. That's what I'm realizing. And it's really an evolutionary argument. It's really about multi-level selection, right? What's best for your body as a collection of your organs and what's best for you as what you consider individual is not necessarily what's best for your family. What's best for your family is not necessarily what's best for your neighborhood. But each level up that you go in the hierarchy of civilization requires a different level of cooperation. So my real thing is the problem with religions, in addition to not being true, is that people still think that they are so great at group cohesion. And they are in some extent. If you're back in the Iron Age and you need to unite an empire of disparate people throughout a region, it's good to have a common ideology. But that's in a world where local ideology dominates and conflicts are local and the technology of destruction is limited. We now live in an era of international technology, an internet of things, and a global context to the way we live our lives and the decisions we make. So Islam may have been great to unite the Islamic world, and Christianity may have been good to unite the Christian world and whatever. But that shit ain't helping us get along at a global level. So this new higher order cooperation, where we say everybody on the planet needs to get more equity, there needs to be more equality between the global north and the global south, more parity between the Islamic world and the Christian world and the non-religious world altogether, and the quality of genders or the entire gender spectrum. It's no longer okay for my health, my life, to matter less than yours. because you were born with more privilege or more money than me? Not okay for me to have to continue to sacrifice for a system that you benefit from? We're not going to be able to use the same tools that created the problem. All right, y'all. Keep learning, keep rising, all that good shit. I love y'all. I'll be back this weekend for our program. We'll see you next time. Said I'm going.